Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from tinaheals.com, and this video is about opening the absolutely diabolical Book of Spells, one of the best written grimoires, and it speaks of spells, it speaks of talisman making, and it encompasses a wide spectrum of knowledge. So it has been taken, uh, the sources are over 200 from which this book has been compiled. It's a compilation. And I wanted to open this up. And this is the translation by John Michael Greer, and Christopher Warnock. So this is a very precious book. If you can have a look, illustrated Picatrix. So the Picatrix is the most famous grimoire of astrological magic and one of the most important works of medieval and Renaissance magic. With all four books complete in one volume, translated and annotated by the noted scholars, magicians and astrologers John Michael Greer and Christopher Warnock, Picatrix takes its rightful place as an essential occult text for modern esotericists. The illustrated Picatrix contains over 120 illustrations with images of the 7 planets and 28 mansions of the moon by Nigel Jackson, as well as images of the 36 decans and 12 signs by Renaissance artists. So this is the moment when I've been studying the Picatrix online through the works of the other guy is the modern hermeticist Dan something. He also has a translation, but I opted for this because this is a classic, and I like the style because Christopher Warnock also has a channel on YouTube, the Renaissance Astrologer, so you can check him out. So this is the moment. Connect with the book, heart chakra. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I approach you with great sincerity, and I take an oath to help people with this knowledge, to help beings, to help souls pass over with this knowledge. All the spells that I cast will not be coercive. They will be to better the life that we already live, because magic is everywhere. We just need to tune into it. Can you imagine that we see less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, and we hear less than 1% of the acoustic spectrum? So what really goes on all around us, all these psychic intuitive nudges that we get? Who is that, or what is that? If I'm the one, if I'm the doer, then who's observing all my actions? Who am I? So this, and astrological magic has actually always fascinated me, because I grew up in India, and we had the Vedic system, and the Vedic system is not just about astrology, like telling you, okay, this is a malefic planet, this is a bad aspect, you're born with this, and you're sort of doomed. No, we don't believe in that. In the Vedic system, we try to perform rituals, sometimes donations, feeding the poor and needy, donating to the old and the sick. So there are things that are called upayas, and all this comes from the Lal Kitab. Okay, the Lal Kitab remedies are very famous in Vedic astrology. So in my work, I have been incorporating astrological magic forever. In fact, I have a little affirmation that I have created, whereby I recite the names of all the planets, I invoke them, and I ask for their best qualities. See, I ask Mars for making me forthright, courageous, and a risk taker sometimes. If I need a risk, I ask Mars that, will you please help me with this risk I'm going to take. If it's Venus, I ask her that, will you bless me with beauty, with finances, with abundance, with sensitive things that I enjoy. And that is what Venus does. To Jupiter, I ask of Jupiter to make me as magnanimous as himself, as giving, a knowledge giver, a philosopher. To Saturn, I ask of his endurance. I ask him to guide me to a more focused, a more concentrated place. And I've got my Saturn at 29 degrees of Leo. And right now we've got the fixed star Regulus is in first of Virgo, 29 and first. So it's a direct conjunction to my natal Saturn, the heart of the lion, which is supposed to be the star of Leo. But due to the precession of the equinoxes, and if you calculate through sidereal astrology, it is now in 1 degrees of Virgo, Regulus, which is the heart of the lion. So my Saturn is conjunct that. So I'm very, I understand Saturn, and it took me a while. But once I understood Saturn, I always ask Saturn by wearing his colors, black. Black is the color of Saturn. By feeding crows, by interacting with crows, by feeding black dogs, black cats. By saying Shem Shanishwaraya Namaha. By writing the frequency of Saturn with a black pen, 148.75, I think. Hertz with a black pen on my left wrist. So I have always been interested in astrological magic. And with my practice, by working with clients and doing their natal charts and looking at how astrology is not a damning art. Okay, if this is bad, there's a way that you can work around it. There's a way that you can better that. Okay, and there are curses, generational curses, and I have seen that spells really work, because magic is what you do when you move into say you move into a situation and by your willpower you try to bring about change. That is magic. Okay, yes, there is a supernatural element to it, but we call it supernatural because we don't understand it. To a Mahayogi, this is not a supernatural thing. With our evolution, with our ascension, we will have the same powers. We will be able to do the same things. So even in the Upanishads, the ultimate wisdom is that Tvamasi, that thou art. We are all destined to become gods, destined to become Manus that create Manvantaras, or cycles in time. Okay, so having said all that, I will recite the Saraswati shloka before I start. Saraswati is the goddess of learning. She's almost like a white Tara. So I touch my heart. With the purest of intentions, I approach the Picatrix and I invoke the goddess Saraswati. Om Saraswati Mahabhage Vidye Kamalalochane Vidyarupe Vrishalakhi Vidyang Dehi Namostute. Jaya Jaya Devi Charachurashare Kuchuchugashobhita Muktahare Veena Ranjita Pustaka Haste Bhagavati Bharati Devi Namostute. So Saraswati gives us her blessing as we open the Picatrix. Beautiful. Oh my God. I feel very excited to touch the book, to feel the book, to, smell the book. It smells like a new book, but, if you're really excited like I am, then you feel the book, you feel the sigils, you feel the magic, and you feel the power of all the magicians that have worked with the Picatrix. Do you know, in medieval Europe, you could be burnt at the stake if you carried a copy of the Picatrix. So this is a diabolical book. And of course it has its bad reputation because it speaks of like really dangerous ingredients for spells, like a cat's head, this or that. But what I say is, it's not about the thing necessarily, it's about adaptation and how we interpret what does a cat's head signify? Because as we elevate our consciousness with time, we can reproduce, like, replace would be a better word, replace these cruel artifacts or torturous or dangerous artifacts with things more holistic. And after all, that is why I think grimoires and magic got a bad name, because of all the ingredients that are spoken of. But fear not, we are not going, I'm vegan, so I'm not going to use any diabolical animal ingredient, but I will try to work with the natural earth elements and earth ingredients that are available, plant-based, and see how we can create magic with that. Ultimately, remember, things are things. Okay, the spell has to be activated here. Yes, you can have your crystal, you can have your black onyx to call Saturn, you can have, you know, your black feather, you can wear black, but at the end of the day, if you do not call Saturn with utmost how shall I say, love, you know, and a real angst to meet Saturn, to love Saturn, you will not get to meet him. Even if you chant dead mandalas of mantra Shamshana Charaya Namah without feeling anything, nothing happens, and you will not be able to create magic. So remember, the ingredients are not so important per se. What is more important is the intent of the magician, and how the magician works with the material, and his focus and his concentration. In certain yogic traditions, they don't do puja, like physical ritual puja. They do everything in the mind, and it is called manas puja. Something I also do, manas puja, sometimes. So opening the Picatrix. Okay, so there is this beautiful symbol, a mandala, again, as we speak of the spheres, you know, the magic of the spheres. And then of course we have the lunar mansions, which I'll get to, but these are the spheres. And above the sphere of Saturn, we have the three outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, and beyond that is the sphere of the fixed stars. Okay, so this is the contents. It's beautiful. A translator's introduction, Picatrix in context. Picatrix and the Necronomicon. Yes, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Another grimoire of spells and talismanic magic. Something I am so interested in, the Necronomicon. In fact, I work with my own daimon, who teaches me astrology for the last 6 years. One day I will introduce my daimon to you, and that daimon is mentioned in the Necronomicon, in the Book of the Shadows, a Book of the Dead. And he is a daimon who teaches you astrology and ancient knowledge. So I work with thought forms and tulpas or daimons, and because, you know, I'm also a Virgo ascendant, a Virgo Mars, a Virgo Venus. So Mercury is like a daimon of consciousness. I've written an article on this, Mercury and daimons. Please check it out in my blog. So, of course, a note on the text, warning and disclaimer, very important, read that, kids, if you're going to practice with the Picatrix. Don't harm any animals, don't harm anyone, because the true magic of the age of Aquarius is never harm. It is the magic of love, the magic of brotherhood, the magic of compassion, the magic of kindness, the magic of softness, the yin side of magic. You know, that I think is going to be very, very important to us. Okay, of course, we have chapter 1, how you may know your degree in the universe. Chapter 2, what magic is and what its properties are. Of course, I will be making a series of videos on the Picatrix, because, you know, I'm not going to let this down, and I'm going to study it with you. It'll be nice if we can study this together. And of course, I will be creating tons of talismans for my clients, and also digital talismans, okay, with numbers and energy circles and energy vials as well, with talismans and crystals and sage and all of that. So here we have in chapter 3 what the heavens are and what the substance is. Okay, chapter 4, the general theory and arrangement of the heavens for making magical images. Very important, very important. I've been reading up a lot on this chapter. examples of the theory of images and those things needful for making magical images. Chapter 6, in what degree everything exists in the universe and how it is known that man is a lesser world and corresponds to the greater world. And how it is known that man is a lesser world and corresponds to the greater world. So microcosm, macrocosm, again, okay, that same story plays out. Chapter 7, in what degree everything in the universe exists and many other profound things hidden by the wise that we intend to reveal in this book of ours. So this is an entry by the writers, and they want to give us more esoteric knowledge, esoteric information. Now you've got book 2. Book 2 looks nice, doesn't it? If you see anybody reading the Picatrix, you know they're into astrological magic. How it is possible to learn this science? Images of heaven and their secrets. This is going to be so beautiful. All the works of the planets, the sun and the moon. Chapter 4, the motion of the eighth sphere and the fixed stars. I am so interested in fixed stars, in all the fixed stars, because I have really been looking at fixed star astrology, and it is astounding how accurate this can be. In the Vedic system, we have a very prominent study of the fixed stars, okay? And I am born under the fixed star Shatavisha, my moon. And Shatavisha, if you have your moon, Shatavisha is known as the 100 healers. So with your moon in Shatavisha, you are a healer. So that is quite interesting. I just love the way fixed stars relate to life and to experience and to the macrocosm and the microcosm, how it reflects it, you know. The division, chapter 5, the division of the signs among nations and which part of each nation possesses. Chapter 6, the virtues of images, and by what means they may be had, and how images may receive the powers of the planets. Forget talisman making, and how works are done by images. And this is the foundation of the science of magic and images. This is Solomonic image magic. Okay. Of course, Solomon is one source. There are many sources. There are Persian sources. So talismans were, I think, created by the Vedic people and by the Persian people before anybody in Europe was doing them. And when you're with the Silk Route and things were coming from the east to the west, I think people got obsessed with talismans, and everybody wanted a talisman. So that is when talismanic magic really reached its peak during the Renaissance. Okay. The division, okay, and how to work dialectically in the science of magical images, and what part this ought to have in this science. Chapter 8, the order of natural things and how they may enter into this science. Chapter 9, examples of the figures and forms of images that call down the systems of the planets. Chapter 10, the stones proper to each planet and formation of figures. So stone magic is also a very big part of Vedic astrology, gemology, and to apply gemstones and crystals to nullify bad astrological aspects. So we go so on and so forth. They made chapter 12, and we've got all this book 3 starting, which is the parts of the planets that exist in plants, animals, and metals. Very important to understand how to work with astrological magic. Of the parts of the science in the aforesaid 3 existence, that is plants, animals, and minerals. So more on that, okay, more on that, book 3, Sun and Saturn, Nabatians, how they would pray to the Sun and Saturn, and how they would speak to them and their spirits and draw forth their influences. So spirit summoning and all that. Then you go to book 4. Chapter 1, again, how by what virtue and force spirit proceeds, and what are the properties of spirits, body, sense, intellect, and soul, as well as differences between them. So this is all going into how the suffumigations of the stars ought to be made. So suffumigation is incense burning. by which a lot of magical work can be done, because it brings about the element of air. Okay, you need, for magic to occur, you need earth, fire, water, earth, fire, water, air. Okay, so fumigation gives you the activation of the air element. It's very important. And of course, then again, more images, more foundation, more on the foundation of magic. Then yeah, the book of the Chaldean agriculture, and what Abu Dar Abemixe translated from the Chaldean language into Arabic. This guy, Abu al-Masar, I think, Abu Abe Miaxi. This is the person who wrote the main Picatrix, from which this Spanish version, the Latin version, was done in the court of Alfonso of Spain. And then, of course, you have chapter 8, virtues of other things, which nature does by her own properties. And chapter 9, which is the last chapter. Then you've got glossaries. So beautiful. We have a lot to study and a lot to do. The faces, the decans, and this is more about each sign, you know. The thing with Picatrix is it does not teach you astrology. It presumes you already know astrology if you're going to pick up a copy of the Picatrix and try to do astrological or talismanic magic. So stay with me, because I'm going to work with the Picatrix. I'm going to create tons of videos, read out parts to you, and also hopefully practically create some spells in front of you. And let's see how it goes. Leave me your comments below. Have you heard of this book? Have you not? Are you interested in astrology, just to understand what's going on in your natal chart, or why you are the way you are, to psychologically penetrate yourself? Or are you looking at just transits and looking at how you can traverse the transits with these? Or are you looking at creating magic with astrology? Ask yourself, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share. Thank you.